Oh man, the Legos Island events of 2024. Oh! Yeah, this year was, interesting. And you'll know why pretty early on. Let's start off with the New Year's party of 2024. It started on December 31st and was originally supposed to end on January 3rd. It ended on January 5th instead, because I lost access to Minecraft for 3 days. Oh, and that wouldn't be the only time I would have that happen. This was the first New Year's party in 4 years since 2019. Sorry, 5 years since 2019 to start in December. I need to make sure I get that right. Yep, 5 years since 2019 to start in December. That's actually insane. And the same applied in 2025, where it started on December 31st, 2024. As you could see, the island was decorated in light blue, dark blue, white, and red. I don't know, just a fun little color scheme I thought I'd just come up with for no freaking reason. Some of the Christmas decorations were left over from Legos Island Christmas of 2023, such as the resort design, but it was mostly gone by then. That right there just proves that not all of it was gone. There's not too much to say about this party other than it was a crazy way to start off a very crazy year. This probably had to be the most lit up New Year's party we ever did. Probably even more than 2023. Because my lord, that sign was insane. Oh, and there were also some lit up firework decorations if you can see it back there. Overall, not a bad way to start off the year. Let's continue. Next up was the food store 1 year anniversary. It started on January 11th and only lasted the 1 day. Of course, the only intention behind this party was that it was mainly just decorated with cakes. And that's actually it. There wasn't really much besides some cakes and candles. It was just like a traditional anniversary party for all these rooms. And yeah, there's not much to say about this one. So let's just continue on. There's definitely a ton more to say about this next one. The Winter Party of 2024. It started on January 18th and ended on the 22nd. This was supposed to start January 19th and the 29th, but then we were extremely close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, so I wanted the party to end before that so they could be separate. The island was decorated in a winter theme, with the mountain having some snow sculptures, which was actually pretty freaking awesome, I'm not going to personally lie. Even this massive heart one, holy frick. Even a USF snow sculpture, because I was at USF at the time when this party occurred. It was mainly just traditional winter party decorations, though. Oh, and maybe a mountain full of snowmen. Yeah, that also was the case, too. Oh, and the ice core rooms were open during this party. I mean, it made sense. It was a winter party. I mean, this sign was pretty cool. So, something cool about this party is that there was a snow maze, but what was even cooler is that it actually was on the 6-year anniversary of the maze. So, what a coincidence. That's one of the main reasons I put it in here. Instead of doing a traditional maze anniversary, this party released instead, and featured the maze as a snow maze. It was a pretty nice idea. One last thing I can say about this party was that there was a snow fort battle added not long after this party released. Pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. And that's it for the winter party. Sorry for dragging on this one a bit longer, there was just a lot to talk about. I wasn't kidding when I said that we were really close to hitting 1,000 subscribers on this channel, because guess what? It happened a good 4 days after that party ended, on January 26th, 2024, and lasted until the 29th. The exact same length as the backyard one, but oh my, this was even better than the backyard version. The island was decorated in the main colors of this YouTube channel. Light blue, dark blue, and yellow, if it didn't already make itself look pretty obvious. This was, I think, the first subscriber milestone party on Legos Island. So that was pretty freaking awesome that it happened to be the 1,000 subscriber one that would make its first debut. There were so many items and fun decorations in this party. Practically almost the whole island was decorated. And that was awesome. Okay, maybe only like half the island, but you get the idea. This was such a fun party, and I'm kind of glad I ended the winter party as early as I did, because I didn't think we'd hit it only just a few days after that party ended. So thank God I shortened the winter party when I finally realized that this was the case. And that's it! Oh boy! Who's ready for the next event? Because I sure am. This one is going to be fun. And honestly, I was not expecting this event to come out this early in the year, but... Wait, sorry, we got a few mini events first, just remembered. We'll get to what I'm talking about in a minute. The ESL Base 5th Anniversary mini events. It was only on January 29th of 2024. It was a callback to the first video where it was introduced. We had to go against Evil Sheep Leader again after, of course, we rediscovered his base. And that was practically it. It was basically a retelling of the first video where it was discovered in, which was actually pretty cool, taking place exactly 5 years after it occurred. This was a really fun video then. There wasn't really too much. It was just a retelling of the original, just of course with some minor differences. Next up is the Underground Party Room 5th anniversary. It only lasted one day, February 3rd, 2024. And celebrated the 5th anniversary since the Underground Party Room made its debut on Legos Island in 2019. There's not too much to say about this party other than, well, yeah, Underground Party Room celebrated its 5th anniversary. This would also be the last time we would celebrate its anniversary. So, yeah. There were some cool items, but besides that, there's not much to say here. But like I stated earlier, who's ready for an event that we probably not expecting to see this early in the year? This is where I finally get to that. Operation Legos Island 2024. Yep, we held it that early in the year. Holy frick. This only occurred a few days after the, Underground Party Room 5th anniversary. And this was entirely different compared to previous Operation Legos Islands. It only lasted for 5 days, starting on February 6th and ending February 11th. This party was celebrating the 5-year anniversary since the 2019 corruption that occurred on that day exactly 5 years prior. Evil Cluck's motive here was to mainly go back to the original day that the corruption happened and prevented it from happening. Of course, corrupting the entirety of the timeline from when that happened. Of course, our job was to obviously go back in time and prevent that, and of course make sure the corruption still happened in reality, because it did end up happening. Why do you think Operation Legos Island itself exists now? It was all because of the corruption, which was what this Operation Legos Island was here to celebrate. This was honestly such a cool way to do Operation Legos Island, and the missions were completely structured completely differently in this party. Like, instead of just fixing a certain time period or fixing certain attacks that Evil Cluck did in certain time periods, he instead made corruption holes in certain rooms that was dedicated to the specific time period. For example, our first time period, February 6, 2019, was specifically in the Underground Party Room, as that's when the corruption happened. Places that were affected by the corruption, such as the theme park and resort itself, were corrupted. On February 7th, we went to February 21st, 2018, which was the first ever mountain expedition. Our goal was to obviously go under the tallest mountain and, of course, find, obviously, you probably can take a guess, the Mountain Expedition Restorer. You see, we had to find these restorers that restored certain parts of each timeline. For example, this was to restore the Mountain Expedition from being corrupted, which just for the record looked like this. Pretty crazy. On February 8th, we went back exactly 5 years to February 8th, 2019, when the Valentine's Day party of 2019 happened. You can thank me for that one. The goal was that Evil Cluck was going to erase Valentine from existence. Meaning, of course, that would defeat the entire purpose of the Valentine's Day party of 2019, at least in terms of what got introduced into it, and it happened as follows. Which means she no longer existed in present-day Legos Island. Of course, that obviously caused a corruption hole to appear, and we had to go down there to restore her and bring her back to life. On February 9th, we went to May 31st, 2021, and we mean the actual May 31st of 2021, not the future version. Nope, the actual day of May 31st, 2021. You know, the day we messed up in 2019. Yeah. That one. Evil Cluck's goal was to erase all of the rooms that were, of course, from the future time period here. A corruption hole would appear in the maze, and we would, of course, have to restore all the rooms. This last one had to be my personal favorite. On February 10th, we went to May 6th of 2024, which was in the future at the time, since this was February that this occurred in. I bring to you the corrupted future! That's right, after everything Evil Cluck did to all the other time periods we visited, it ended up turning the whole island corrupted instead. Thankfully, we were able to actually save the island from being completely corrupted in the first place. But regardless, this was such a cool future time period, I'm not going to lie. And even defeating Evil Cluck was satisfying. Like, literally, we actually managed to get him. This was honestly so much fun. The next party to occur in LEGO's Island was the Valentine's Day party of 2024. It started on February 14th and ended on February 17th. This event basically immediately followed Operation LEGO's Island, as after the finale of Operation LEGO's Island, there was no episodes until this party because I needed a slight break from after all that chaos. But the party we ended up getting out of all of this was honestly so freaking cool. And honestly, it was a nice little reward after Operation LEGO's Island 2024. The whole island was decorated in a Valentine's Day themed, and now with the cherry items, we actually could go even more insane than ever before. This was such a fun party. And the cherry leaves were everywhere in this party. Holy frick, why did we not make a whole spring event out of that now that I think about it? Oh, that just gave me an idea for 2025. But yeah, this room right here had to be one of my personal favorites. Like, look at all the freaking cherry leaves. That was pretty crazy back then. All the items were brand new in this part, as you would expect. Overall, not a bad party. Okay, this had to be my second favorite room. Holy frick! I forgot how insane I went with this. But yeah, with all that being said, that wraps up this party. There's not much else to say other than it was a very fun party and a nice way to kind of reward ourselves after Operation LEGO's Island. But then the unthinkable happened. The island shut down. Yeah, immediately following the Valentine's Day party of 2024, like literally the day I took that down, a few hours after that, I couldn't access the game. I straight up could not access Minecraft, which meant I couldn't access LEGO's Island for a while. A long while at that. This can explain why this year was interesting, because you see, a good 3 months of the year were entirely skipped because of this closure that happened out of nowhere. Literally, this all came out of nowhere. And unfortunately, we didn't get it back until May of 2024. Pretty much exactly 3 months after it occurred. We did technically hold an anniversary party for LEGO's Island inside Zolas Lab 2 on March 25th to kind of replace the original anniversary party that would have occurred on the actual island that day if, you know, I had access to it. So this was pretty cool. My house and base were updated for this party and used the colors that would have been seen in that party. What was cool though is that at the time, items that were supposed to release during the time that the island was gone ended up getting released during this party in what I like to call the vaults. Either way, this was a nice little way to celebrate 7 years, even without the actual island itself. But that's all we got for an anniversary. And because of the shutdown, that also meant March and April were entirely skipped, and the first half of May. And that is what brings us to the colorful welcome back party. 3 months later, from May 24th to June 1st. Finally, after 3 long months, we were finally able to get the game to load again. And, of course, get the worlds back. And I did it in an extremely clever way. The whole island was decorated in a color theme, with practically every color you can possibly think of. Literally. I won't cover all of them since, of course, we will be here way too long. Plus, also, there's something far more important in this party that I need to cover instead. Oh, and it wasn't just colors. There were actual legitimate welcome back decorations in Glacier, light blue, and dark blue, scattered around the island where I just couldn't think of any other colors. So there was that too. I can confirm that the entire island was decorated, and I mean literally every freaking place on this island was updated. There was no area untouched if you don't count the wilderness. God dang it. Like basically except for the wilderness, the whole island was decorated. I just forgot to decorate over there apparently. But oh boy, this party had to have had the most items out of every single LEGO's Island event ever. Even more than LEGO's Island Summer, which I'll cover later. This party had a total of 95 items. And there's actually a reason why there's 95 items. You see, there's 46 color items that release in this party. Multiple items releasing per day. But where the heck were the other 46? Well, allow me to introduce to you the other half of this party. The unreleased event simulation. You see, since the island was gone for 3 months, There were so many events that could not be held because of this reason alone. And this was a side story that occurred alongside the colorful welcome back party that, of course, made us see all the events that couldn't occur during that 3-month shutdown. And I'll cover these very quick. Evil Cluck's goal was to, of course, get into the simulation and mess it all up. Events such as Operation Wilderness in the Future, that was meant to occur on February 22nd through the 29th. The 900th episode party for LEGO's Island, which was occurred from February 29th to March 3rd. The Dog Park 5th anniversary that was supposed to occur on March 8th of 2024. The Pi Day event that was supposed to occur on March 14th. The St. Patrick's Day party that was supposed to occur from March 15th to the 18th. The LEGO's Island 7th anniversary party that was supposed to occur from March 25th through the 28th. They can get the shortest anniversary party of all time if it actually happened. The Water Park 5th anniversary, which was meant to occur on March 31st, 2024. The Easter Fool's Party that was supposed to occur from March 29th to April 2nd. The Earth Day Party that was supposed to occur from April 22nd to the 25th. The USF Graduation Party that was supposed to occur on April 25th. The Minecraft 15th Anniversary Celebration that was supposed to occur from May 17th to the 20th, the exact same length as the 10th anniversary in 2019. The Memorial Day Party that was supposed to occur on May 27th, 2024. And lastly, the Cave Adventures 5th Anniversary that was supposed to occur on May 28th, 2024. But here's the thing, Evil Cluck was trying to stop me in the simulation by, of course, trying to mess with me in the simulation by, of course, messing things up in all of the unreleased events that we were exploring. However, on May 31st of 2024, the day before LEGO's Island Summer began, we actually managed to outsmart this guy and entirely trap him in the simulation for the next few months as pure payback for, of course, proving that I forgot everything for the last 5 years. We sure got him then! And that is where we now transition into our next event, LEGO's Island Summer 2024. And that can explain where the other 46 items came from. You're welcome! This had to be my favorite party of 2024. And personally, I think we can all agree, this event was a masterpiece. And the simulation arc was also amazing. This was something that was never planned at the beginning of the year because we didn't think we'd lose the island for so long. But after this happened, oh, this was so freaking cool. Like I said, this episode right here actually transitions into LEGO's Island Summer 2024 right here. Let's go on to it. After the incredible colorful welcome back party and simulation arc, we had LEGO's Island Summer 2024. It started on June 1st and ended on September 1st as in usual tradition. The island this time around was centered around a, of course, tropical Hawaiian paradise, if it didn't already make it look so freaking obvious. But this was a very creative LEGO's Island Summer. You see, while the entire island, was practically decorated in a tropical summer paradise, as it usually would be, when we got to the second month of the event in July, the time of day changed. It went from daytime in June to evening in July. This was called the Daylight Cycle. A fun little idea that I came up with. Oh, and speaking of this footage, this party introduced custom-themed armor for LEGO's Island Summer, including ones for 2024. This was honestly something I didn't need to do, but I did just because why the frick not? And I might do it again for 2025. Don't be surprised, I might do it again. Anyway, this is just a little fun fact though. But speaking of the evening portion of this event, allow me to talk about the other half of this event. You see, throughout the evening portion of this event in the month of July, from July 13th to August 1st, 2024, Evil Cluck froze the whole freaking island. Or at least the places that were affected during this time frame. We call this Arctic Summer. This was a storyline that played inside LEGO's Island Summer 2024, and it was Evil Cluck's revenge plan from being trapped in the simulation. There were many missions that we needed to do, such as going through a snow maze and defeating polar bears, just to name a few. The island, as you can notice, was in a winter themed, because, well, what's the opposite of summer? Winter, of course, and that's what Evil Cluck did, apparently. There were so many fun little missions in this party. My personal favorite being the slide one on Mission 4. And I think it shows. This was so much freaking fun. Like, yeah, this had to be my personal favorite mission, the slide mission, because you just slid all around on the ice. Why wouldn't that be fun? Oh, and we also did a Christmas in July mini event on July 25th in Mission 5, right here. So, that was cool. Yeah, the design honestly did look pretty nice, not gonna lie. We did eventually defeat Evil Cluck, though, on, August 1st. And boy, was this satisfying. This and the simulation are probably my two favorite ways of defeating it. I mean, look at this. Watch. You can see why I did this. Yep! That right there. That was one of my favorite ways of defeating him ever. I actually thought I missed that shot, but apparently I managed to get it. Holy frick. That was, very satisfying. The remainder of this party just took place at nighttime in August, with a few fun little water slides throughout the mine. There's not too much to say about that, but they were pretty cool because they were all lit up, and they referenced the nighttime theme. Oh, and this also had the LEGO Island Summer with the most summer banners ever, being, I think, a total of 7. But yeah, the last month or so was just mainly showcasing items and water slides, so not too much to talk about here. Of course, we obviously ended it off with a grand finale on August 31st, as in usual tradition. Oh yeah, and I completely forgot the New York rooms made a return back in the end of June. That's another thing. What was cool about the finale is that it actually took advantage of the daylight cycle. When we returned to the June rooms, it was back to being at daytime, which was actually pretty freaking clever. When we got to the July portion, it was back to being evening again. And when we got to August, it was night again. Just like how it was the whole month. This had to be one of my personal favorite LEGO Island Summers, and probably the most creative one of them all. Comment down below if you think the same. And finally, we can actually finally get out of this event, because that's it. The next party to occur on LEGO's Island was a mini event. Labor Day 2024. It started on September 2nd and only lasted the one day. This party was actually pretty creative this time around. The difference this time was that it was only in the stores on the island, such as the coffee shop and library and food store, and yeah, you get the idea. Basically, any store-related area on the island was decorated for this party, which was actually really clever. If I recall, I think there was only like 2 items available, and that's fine considering it was just a one-day party. Regardless, that is really cool. Let's move on to the next party. Actually, fun fact about next year's Labor Day party, it ends literally the day that LEGO's Island Summer ends. What a coincidence. I'm not kidding. Look at the calendar. It's legit. The next party to occur on LEGO's Island was another mini event, being the fall mini event of 2024. It started on September 21st and ended on the 25th. Like the last few fall events, this is of course mainly to celebrate fall. But most of the items were entirely new. In fact, I think literally every single item in this party was brand new, except for the pumpkin. But yeah, so many areas for this party were updated, which is awesome. And I think this was actually the first fall mini event to be completely on its own, without any other events going alongside it. So that was also a plus. It finally got to be on its own for one. This was a really nice little mini event, but nothing compared to our next party. The medieval party was back after 3 years. It started on September 25th and ended on October 5th. The exact same length as the medieval party 2019. This party practically looked like a remake of the medieval party 2019 from exactly 5 years prior. The difference was that Evil Cluck took it all over. It was messed up. And you know why he did all of this? To completely take over the entire medieval kingdom itself. This was nuts! I present to you the Kingdom War. Evil Cluck was attempting to completely take over the medieval kingdom, and our goal was to obviously get through all the mobs he sent against me, to of course make our way to the castle and put a stop to his plan. What you see in this footage is Quest 1 on September 25th, where we fought against a bunch of pillagers in the medieval village. One day later, on September 26, 2024, we did end up celebrating its 5th anniversary for the medieval kingdom itself. And it only lasted that one day. Fun fact about all the quests, they all unlocked on the exact same days as they did back in 2019. Quest 2 took place in the Fire Dungeon, where we were against a bunch of Vindicators. These guys were insane! We managed to pull it off. On September 29th, we made our way down to the Target and Arrow Room, where we fought against a bunch of witches. I died a lot here. On October 1st, we fought against a bunch of evokers inside the castle. After, completing a code to get back into the castle since he managed to lock us out again. And this time, the code was different. It was our first battle against Evil Cluck, and that was October 4th of 2019. And it reopened the castle as follows. On October 3rd, the only day that did not end up being the same from 2019, because that last mission got delayed 5 years ago by 1 day. We were at the trial chambers this time, and of course had to fight all the mobs inside the medieval kingdom, to make our way to where Evil Cluck was. We did end up defeating him though, and yeah, that was actually pretty satisfying. That was probably my third favorite way of getting rid of him this year. In fact, actually, speaking of Evil Cluck, we haven't seen him here since. This was also the last mission-based event of 2024 for LEGO's Island. So from this point forward, there is only normal events from this point forward. And see, that message there proves it. Next up was LEGO's Island Halloween 2024. It started on October 21st and ended on November 4th, so it was the exact same length as LEGO's Island Halloween 2019, except for it ending just 1 day later. Remember the corrupted future from earlier? Well, that was the main idea behind this party. Cool Guy 33 made a suggestion back when the corrupted future was originally seen in Operation LEGO's Island 2024 that it could be a good LEGO's Island Halloween design. A good 8 months later, and I took that into consideration, cause it sure happened. And oh boy, he was not wrong. This actually did make a lot of sense. There were some minor differences, such as all the flickering lights that were all over the place, like in the Pet Cemetery for pure example. Yeah, those were some minor differences, and some of the lights that you could see in the background. It was actually pretty cool, and did make some minor differences. Obviously, Halloween decorations were placed around where the corrupted future was. And again, the flickering lights also made it pretty spooky as well. Unlike 2023, there were no missions. And thank God, because we had just had the medieval party at the time. The Haunted Hotel returned like normal. I won't cover them all here, because that'll take too long. But just know it was here. Overall, this was a very fun Halloween party. And with all that said, let's move on to the next event. But again, though, holy frick, he wasn't wrong. This really did make a good Halloween party. The corrupted future actually made sense for this. Good on you, Cool Guy 33. The last day of LEGO's Island Halloween 2024, we held a 5-year anniversary celebration for Operation LEGO's Island. It only lasted 1 day, November 3rd. And as I just stated, it was all in celebration of the 5-year anniversary since the first ever Operation LEGO's Island took place in 2019. This party was handled a bit differently. This time around, we actually dedicated all of the rooms to past future time period designs. This one being from the dark future in 2020, for example. And what was cool about this is not only were these rooms brought back, and one from each future time period respectively, but there were actually items that were completely custom made, dedicated to them, and were all new at the same time because these were never seen in their original time periods. So that's really cool. We got banners based off of the respective future time period itself, and ones based off of the said villain that took over the future time period back in the day. The main one here that we should all know is the Crystal Clear Future, as the Crystal Clear Future happened to ironically be this very day 2 years prior in 2022, as the Crystal Clear Future was November 3rd, 2024. Now that we actually made it to that day, it would probably be the most as expected to be represented here. It was the front and center room of this party. Like I stated though, one room from each future time period made a comeback in this party, with many items relating to it being brought in for the first time ever. This was honestly a really nice way to celebrate the 5-year anniversary of Operation LEGO's Island. And it kind of made sense to do this considering the corrupted future design was just still here at the time from Halloween, so yeah. We didn't even need to worry about where the corrupted future room was because it was still all over the island from Halloween. Overall, this has got to be my personal favorite Operation LEGO's Island anniversary. The fact that there were 19 items for just this mini event alone is actually crazy when you think about it. And that's all there is to be said. So let's move on to the next party, which occurred literally just 1 day later. This one came out of freaking nowhere. That's because I never announced the Western Party of 2024. It started on November 4th and ended on the 11th. This immediately followed the Halloween party. The island was decorated in a Western theme, but it was actually done pretty cleverly. As you probably can notice, on that portion of the island it was tan, and on this portion it was orange. Every other room was a different colored sand, so the colors swapped every single room, which was actually insanely clever. And all the items in this party were entirely new, as you could clearly see right here. This party was honestly really cool. I'm not going to personally lie. I had a lot of fun doing this. And fun fact, did you know this party would have never happened here on Legos Island if it actually happened in Zolas Up 2? Because that's fun fact where it was supposed to originate, and then the Halloween party got delayed for there. So I had to move the party here to Legos Island. That's the only reason this happened. I'm not even kidding. But yeah, there were so many items in this party. And that's not even all the content. On November 8th, 2024, we had a Western-themed roller coaster on top of the lodge, which was actually pretty cool. Fun fact, by the way, halfway through this party, the island went from daytime to evening. And it showed. Yeah, I wanted to do something similar to Legos Island Summer, where the island would change daytime halfway through. I don't know, it just made sense for a party like this. But if you thought the Western coaster was insane, wait till you see the Western maze. That's right, this maze was insane. And much like the actual Western party, every other room was a different color. So the colors would swap in the maze, which made it super cool. One room was tan, and then another was orange. It kept swapping every other room, which was actually insanely clever. This was on November 10th, by the way, the last day of the party. And what a great way to wrap up the party. And see? There's your proof when I said the color swapped every time. It just couldn't get better than that. And that's it for this party. Let's move on to the next event. The second to last one. Next up was the Fair 2024. It started on November 25th and ended on December 5th, the exact same length as the Best Party Awards from a year prior. This fair was so much better than 2023, I'll guarantee you that one. The premise of this party was that it was half evening and half nighttime, meaning there were certain elements of this party that related to both. All the roller coasters were lit up, as you could see, and all the games were scattered in completely different areas across the island, as we could clearly see. And some rooms only just had roller coasters, which also made it pretty cool. There were 3 prize booths around the party, one in the port, another in the theme park, and the last one at the village, unlocking every 3 days. This was such a cool party. And again, like I said, honestly way better than 2023. I feel I had way more creativity in this one. And unlike the last one, it actually took place in the fall rather than the spring. So that can explain why all the pumpkins were here. And the roller coasters were honestly really cool. That fair sign, by the way, was honestly really freaking clever. There were lit up pumpkins as well. And if that wasn't crazy enough, a new park was introduced during this party. The Epic Games Park. This party was absolutely insane. It's one of my personal favorite fairs. And with all that said, we are going to move on to the next party. Which actually, the next few are mini events. So let's go for those real quick. God, I love this party. The day following the Fair 2024 was the HQ 5th anniversary. It only lasted one day, November 26th, and was obviously held here in the HQ. There was one small little difference though. HQ Secretary was nowhere to be found as she was currently taking care of Operation Multiverse in Zolas Up 2 and 3. So we had to go this HQ anniversary without her. Besides that, this practically played out like all the other HQ anniversaries, just of course with some minor different decorations. But really outside of that, this just played out like all the other HQ anniversaries. There's not too much to say here. But there is something to say about the Thanksgiving mini event. Oh, dude, this was crazy. This was held in the dog park. It lasted from November 28th and ended December 1st. The exact same length as 2019, because this happened to literally be the exact same day as 2019 for Thanksgiving. Which is not a joke, actually. You can thank leap year for that. Did any of you forget that this year was a leap year? I sure didn't. But yeah, this whole place was decorated. Like, the whole dog park, alongside all 3 buffalo houses, were updated for this party. And see, there's the length to prove I wasn't kidding. And not only that, there were also Thanksgiving-themed items in the prize booth as well, which was honestly so freaking cool. There were so many awesome items in this party. They were all brand new, and I absolutely loved every single freaking one of them. The dog park also looked really nice for this party. And personally, to be honest, that's all there is really to say. It's just another normal Thanksgiving mini event. In, of course, a completely different location like all the others were. With all that said, let's move on to the final event of the year, LEGO's Island Christmas 2024. It started on December 15th and ended on the 31st. This party had a full-on candy cane theme, which was actually really cool, and it took advantage of the pale oak wood items as they were only had just released in the game at the time, like a few weeks before this party released. So this actually made this event work out a lot more than I thought it would. And honestly, this event came out amazing. Basically, the entire island was decorated, which was awesome. Maybe not literally everywhere, but I tried getting to almost literally everywhere on the island. I may have only messed out on maybe just a few. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Just like the Western party, the maze opened up again, and was a full-on candy cane themed maze. Every room was swapped to a different colored candy cane. In the entrance, it was red. For this, it was blue. The next room was green. The room following it was ice. And we also could collect past candy cane banners along the way. The next room was the gold candy cane. And the final room was the snow candy cane. This was honestly really freaking clever. This party basically had every single candy cane you can possibly think of, including in a new one. The glowstone candy cane. Oh, and also, I guess the lit up gingerbread one as well. That's another one. But mainly, it's the glowstone one that got introduced here, which was freaking awesome. This party really did have a lot of creative designs for this, and this truly came out amazing. Outside of the candy cane theme, the advent calendar came back as well, as in usual yearly tradition. But what was so cool about it is that every single advent calendar item was entirely new, and more importantly, all custom made by me, making this the first ever LEGO's Island Advent Calendar to have every single item custom made by me and not coming from the game. By what I mean by is using items already in the game. That's what I used to do for most of these. But no, this time all of them were made by me, which was incredible. And with that said, that wraps up LEGO's Island events for 2024. Hopefully I didn't drag on this one too long. I mean by like the Christmas one. But boy, 2024 was definitely interesting for LEGO's Island. But yeah, 2024 was definitely a pretty crazy year for the island. I will admit that. It was quite honestly a pretty rough year considering, half of, the year was cut out. Or at least 3 months of the year. That's like a quarter of the year cut out entirely. So hopefully going into 2025, that doesn't happen again. Because yeah, we literally lost like a quarter of the year because of the shutdown. So that's the only unfortunate part about 2024. The rest of it was fantastic. It's just the only downside was that we lost like 3 months of the year because of that. So, yeah. Anyway, hopefully this doesn't happen again in 2025. And so hopefully we can go back to having like a full-on year. That's probably why this one didn't take as long as the last few. Because, again, a quarter of the year was missing. So, yeah. With all that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. We're going to be covering the live events next time since we're going to be really close to its anniversary. So, please look out for that. And until next time, goodbye.